What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Corporate Bartender. When we think about building cultures at work and living a full, more intentional life, neuroscience isn't always the first word that pops to mind. If you want to know how that fits into the puzzle, you're in the right spot. We've got Alex Davids on the show today. She's the co-founder of Next Evolution Performance and has more than 20 years teaching executives brain-based frameworks that improve, well, pretty much everything. She's writing a couple of books, and despite being a native New Zealander, she's a CU buff. Sko Buffs. This conversation was a banger, and I just know you're going to dig it, so buckle up, TCBers, grab your favorite cocktail, and let's get right on into it with Alex Davids on today's TCB.
Welcome to Sky Team's The Corporate Bartender, where we gather some of the best HR and people leaders to discuss what's happening on the people side of business. Join the bartenders, Eric and Lori, as they interview some of today's most innovative thinkers, share tips, tricks, and tools, while enjoying some good old-fashioned community and, as always, laughing a lot. Now pull up a stool, belly up to the bar, and join us for The Corporate Bartender.
Welcome, everybody. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It is your favorite day and mine. It is Corporate Bartender Day. It is the 27th of May, 2026. And if Ruby were here, I would tell her that as we enter June, we're coming up. Technically, we're in the back half of the year, and that means it's almost pumpkin spice time again. We'll be here before you know it. It is the 241st time that we've convened this group of amazing people. I am super excited about today because, as you know, since the show refreshed, we did a little upscaling of our guests. So we're being a little pickier, and we're making sure that they've got something to say that you guys will give a shit about, and they have to be cool people. So today, we're going to ding all three of those bells. Ding the bell. We're going to ding those bells because we have in our midst today, we have Alex Davids, and she is the co-founder of a company called Next Evolution Performance. And she's a bunch of other things too. She's a Kiwi. You'll hear that in her accent, even though in the pre-show we were talking, when she talks with Americans, she tends to slow down and mirror them. So I kind of think I maybe should throw in a Southern accent and see if she can mirror that as we continue our conversation. So technically, she is right now in the future. It's tomorrow morning there in New Zealand. She is also, Ann Mounts, she is a CU buff. Sko Buffs. And little known fact that I learned in the pre-show.
He's going to give it away.
She was at one point in time the president of the student body of CU Boulder. I mean, come on. That's pretty cool. She's a neuroscientist. She's a yoga teacher. She's been there, done that. She has a closet full of t-shirts. I didn't warn her in the pre-show, but if she's ever watched or listened, she knows what we do. Let's give Alex a warm TCB welcome, shall we? See, Alex, we dance people onto the show.
I'm into it. I told you my secret passion was musical theater.
See? I know. Awesome. Hey, Alex, thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. What a treat and what a fun format for a podcast.
Awesome. Well, we like to think that we're the most fun podcast that's out there in podcast land. And if you think so, you should tell everybody. Before we get too deep, I always like to start with an origin story question. So sure. When you were a wee baby child, I imagine this isn't what you thought you would be doing or what you aspired to do. Tell us a little bit about where it started and how it's going now and what happened in between.
Yeah, sure. No, I'm not sure this is what I imagined I would be doing, but as I think happens in your life, you look back and you go, oh my gosh, well, that led to that, which led to that, and then it all really did make sense. I can't remember what I used to think I wanted to do, but I knew that I theater was such a fun world. I loved doing that all through school and high school. And anyway, we'll jump through it quickly. When I was 14, my mother got remarried to an American man, and we ended up in Aspen, Colorado. And that
worst
was
places to be than Aspen, Colorado.
Worst places to be, but going into ski industry life at the height of the snow becoming non-existent was interesting.
Oh, you should have been here this year. This was terrible.
No, it's just got worse and worse, hasn't it? Well, I do get back there a reasonable amount because I've still got some amazing friends there. But I stayed through high school, through university at CU Boulder, which I loved. I really didn't know what to study. Universities are set up quite differently in New Zealand, and my mum definitely had no understanding of what the American system was like. So I
she's like, you'll
taught
figure
her
it
a lot.
out. You'll figure it out.
I think she spent a lot of time in Boulder with us. So I studied psychology because I knew that it would be a strong background to anything I decided to do. And I'm so glad I did. But, we joked about the presidency thing while I was there, but actually it was a huge eye-opener to one of my favorite things about America and about American universities is that you can get involved in anything that you want to inside the university.
Literally anything.
Literally anything. And that's mind-blowing. I didn't think I loved politics, and I don't really, but what I did love was that at Colorado, you have an enormous student budget, and the school is run entirely by the students. That everyone employed there is employed by the student body. Those poor teachers having to deal with that every couple of years. But what I realized I started to really enjoy while I was there was I got thrown into a lot of situations where the university was dealing with the neighborhood association, who was dealing with the student body, who was dealing with the police. And there was some really tough conflict going on. And I had to stand up and facilitate huge 200 or 300 person sessions with these very intense groups. And
at the ripe old age of what, like 20?
Far younger than that. I think I was 18. Because of our New Zealand school system. We go year to year, and you guys. Well, I don't know. I got thrown in a little bit younger than I was, but than when I was meant to be. But what I realized is I didn't have any fear of dealing with those situations. I actually saw them as opportunities because all I could see was that people just weren't communicating well. It wasn't that there was huge conflict. It was just there was lack of understanding. And I really think that set the groundwork for me to launch into what I did next. I got offered a job right out of university with the local government in Boulder, and I took it. It was a facilitation role, connecting community and the university, which I imagine is always a heated relationship in any town.
So you went from one side of the table to the other side of the table.
Yeah, I did. And I loved it. I loved working with people under tense situations and trying to understand them and help them understand others. And I did go back to New Zealand pretty quickly after that. I wanted to see what it was like as an adult. My father had passed when I was really young, and he was a pretty strong figure in our lives. And it was really, really great to come back. I did not know what I was going to do when I got back. I found an advertising role, but this advertising company had read my CV and had read a whole lot into it and had said, we actually really want you to, when does this happen? I would have been 21 when I came back, 22 maybe. We want you to start up a part of the business that helps our clients understand who they really are so we can advertise in alignment to that. I thought,
yeah, that happens never, Alex. Never. It's a grand total of 0 times. You are the time it happened.
And what an opportunity. Later, my employer told me many years later when we met up again in London, he thought I was closer to 30, which I didn't know whether to be insulted or thrilled.
Well, hey, the good news is you still look 30. It's great.
Oh, great. The magic of Zoom. So yeah, I had several years where I went. He supported me to go study the deep connection between personal values, company values, and then how that integrates with the corporate world. And I won't go into all the people, but did some amazing training. And then when you live in little New Zealand, you realize pretty quickly if you want to do something and get greater experience, you need to leave for a while.
So where'd you go next?
I thought I would go traveling. I had a great time going through South America for quite a long time. And then I landed in London to see my younger sister and just go, how's it going? Did not want to stay in London because everybody in New Zealand goes to London. But I thought I'd better maybe get some work for a while. And I found a dream job and met a dream man. And he's now my husband. And so leaving London got harder and harder. And we ended up being there for nearly 11 years. And we had 2 of our 3 children there. And the company that I got involved with was a huge business coaching firm. What I loved about them was they placed equal emphasis on culture and commercial. And I thought, wow, what businesses do that? And after a few years working with them, I thought, I want to go start my own thing. I think that's what I want to do. I just want to be an entrepreneur. And they said,
we all do this.
Yeah. They didn't want me to leave. So instead, we came up with an idea, which was to partner with the founder. And he said, just come and work with me and see how I apply all of the coaching techniques into different spaces. So he would support amazing clients who were in big lawsuits for family, billion-dollar fortunes, and help them work out what it is they wanted before they got into this heated, very expensive debate, but all sorts of things. And it was in that time I said to him, you know what? I think there's a missing link in the clients you're working with. I think every single one of them has either come to you with this issue or has mentioned it in the past, and they're all talking about hitting a wall at some point. And the only support they're getting is take some time off, get a personal trainer, maybe see a doctor. No one is saying you can run a really amazing business or have an amazing career and do it without burning out. And I said, I think we just need to start pulling on the psychology, and eventually the neuroscience came in a few years later, and the business structures at the same time. And because surely high performance is actually about doing that all without repeatedly hitting walls. And no one really believed it at the time. That was nearly 20 years ago. People thought, well, no, it's just a given. You want to have a big career, you're going to burn out.
Suck it up, buttercup.
Suck it up. It's part of the job.
Well, you and I were joking in the pre-show, this notion of burnout and the neuroscience that goes along with it. That's been your lane for 20 years, and all of a sudden it's a super trendy lane to be in. So you had fortuitous timing, just hanging in there for 20 years till it was popular.
I know it. Unfortunately, when my business is going well, it generally means the world is not. But we're hoping we shift that and that we can help people make this more of just the way they operate rather than the exception. And of course, AI is really causing some interesting problems. It's a phenomenal tool, can be really positive, but it is.
And some people want to marry it.
I think they are actually getting married now, aren't they?
So, you know, this notion of the neuroscience, this is the N word is what hooked me in your promotional materials, because I'm a brain science nerd junkie. What was the hook for you? Like, when did you decide that, this is a thread worth pulling? Because you went and got a certificate in Canada, so you moved again, I guess.
Oh no, didn't do it. Didn't do it. I did it virtually.
So what was the hook for you deciding this was a wagon you wanted to hitch your horse to?
Yeah, well, the psychology it's often linked into neuroscience anyway. So we were bringing in little elements of it and I could see the effectiveness it was having, but I knew there was just sort of something not quite strong enough in pulling it all together. And I'd run the business for nearly 10 years. And like I said, I had 2 kids and I did hit a bit of a wall myself where I thought I'm actually not able to walk my talk anymore. And that is not a great place to be in.
No, you feel like an imposter when you get up and tell people how they should be doing it when you're grumbling.
Man. Yeah, getting up and looking like you're hungover because you've been up all night with 2 babies and trying to deliver a workshop on high performance is not a great look. I do remember leaving a major law firm in London, going back to my husband and saying, "Oh, I can't do this. I can't do this way." And so I sat down with my shareholders, and we had gone a particular route, which was we went quite wide. We went and got about 35 coaches and about I think we were 9 or 10 different countries around the world, and they were amazing. But I felt like the product was getting diluted. I wasn't able to be across it as much. And so we pulled it back in. I actually ended up making the very, very difficult decision, which I'm currently writing some reflections on at the moment, about giving up my business and selling it back to them. My husband and I had begun talking about moving to New Zealand and having a 3rd baby. I mean, what were we on?
What are you thinking?
Crazy women who try to do all this stuff.
So this is what got you out of London.
This is what got me out of London. Yeah. And lifestyle. I mean, lifestyle in New Zealand is pretty hard to beat. But one of my licensees came to me and said, "Well, I don't want to end this business. It's going so well for me here." She was in Sydney, Australia. And I said, "Well, you go, girl." And she ended up restarting the business. I won't go into what happened with buying it back off the business coaching company, long story. And she said to me, "Want you back in the business?" I said, "Oh, no, I've just got out." It was so hard to make that decision. And she said, "Look, I want you in no matter what." And we built a different structure, gave me space to just go back to the original start of the business, which was just doing CEO work. So I only did one-to-one CEO work, which was fantastic. She did all the company stuff. And she had a master's in neuroscience.
Excellent.
And she now is the CEO of our company and my business partner, and she's phenomenal. And just the stuff she started saying, "Well, you've got this part and this part, but we just need to build on this part." And I was like, yes, that's the missing link. And it started landing even better for clients. And we started our IP evolved, and all of a sudden the stuff we were able to work with people on was the fundamental element of neuroscience is understanding why we behave the way we behave. Mm-hmm. And when people's brains have a why, they also see it can change and that they have more choice than they thought.
So true.
Typically in a lot of leadership and any sort of development work, we tell people what they should do, but we don't explain why it works. And when we don't give them the why, it's sort of why motivational speakers don't always land that well, because they tell their story and it's really energizing, but no idea why. Why did that work for you and how could it work for me? So that it felt to me like neuroscience provides the understanding for why things work, why they don't, why we operate the way we do, and now how you can actually change. And so we push people pretty hard around, stop saying, "I'm just the sort of person who does X, Y, Z." There's no such thing. You have chosen, maybe through life unfolding without you really realizing, but you are choosing to be the way that you are. You have choice to shift into a different operating pattern.
We talk about that a lot.
Working.
We talk about that a lot in our work and in the workshops that we do. We talk about the power of intentionality and the luxury of choice, because you have both. And in all of the work that we do, we try to make that a cornerstone, right? We wrap everything around the idea that in making intentional choices is a big deal. and you get to pick the path, right? This is your personal choose your own adventure in real life, right? It's funny how simple the concept blows people's minds. They're like, what do you mean? No, they say things like, I'm the person who does this. This is what I do. Yeah. We were with a client a couple of weeks ago in Boston, and we were doing the little sort of happy hour mixer after the program ended that day. And the person I was talking to, she ordered a beer, and she does not like IPAs. They give her a headache. They brought the beer, very clearly an IPA. And I said, because it looked just like mine. And she's from Vermont, and I wanted a beer from Vermont. So we were having that conversation. And I said, I think you have the same one. And I tasted it, and it was definitely the same one. And I said, why don't you send it back? She's like, oh, that's not who I am. I will drink this whole beer. This is the person that I am. Right. And I'm like, Sarah, I'll call her Sarah because that's her name. Sarah, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. You're not going to inconvenience the waitstaff. She doesn't give a shit, right? Like, she'll be like apologetic. She'll say, I'm so sorry. I brought you the wrong thing. Let me fix that for you. I said, do you want me to do that? She said, oh God, no, that's even worse. But it was
it's so amazing, isn't it?
Right. It was so indicative to me. Like, this is the thing. Like, we put ourselves into these containers.
Yeah.
And we tell ourselves that we can't get out of them, or that we don't deserve to get out of them.
Mm-hmm. I'm so thrilled to hear the language you're using. I did tell you I'm writing a couple of books, and one of them is about the underlying piece is conscious choice and how we move through the world with a lot of unconscious choices, but they are choices. And that actually, what are we saying all these silent yeses to?
Yeah. Ooh, silent yeses. I love that.
I know, that might be the book title.
What?
We'll see. But we're born into a world that pours messaging onto us and raw definition, and it comes at us from every angle, and it's only getting worse. And then suddenly we wake up and we go, why? I think the question, and look, it's hit me many times, why am I not completely satisfied and over the moon with a life that I seemingly have chosen?
Right, seemingly.
Seemingly. And then you get people to slow down and look back and really break it down and go, did you choose that? Well, yeah, you did, but is that the silent yes that you gave rather than actually I need to make that a conscious no?
Anyone here ever stay in a relationship longer than they should have? Anybody do that for almost 30 years?
Oh,
just me?
It's a long time.
Just me?
You're not alone in the world, I promise. Maybe in this little group, but not in the room.
No, and you know what? But it's one of those realization moments. And so it's interesting, Alex, the way the things that you're talking about, the natural exits to those patterns, the pattern breakers, when you don't know anything or aren't trying anything, tend to be very painful things, right? Like somebody dies and all of a sudden we have perspective for about 8 minutes, but we have perspective, right? Yeah. What's important, what's not important, but life beats that out of us and it burns out over the course of days or weeks. In my case, it was, I didn't want to be on this earth anymore. And the night I plotted how to do that and made a plan was when everything changed for me. But I ended up in a puddle on the floor watching the snowfall, listening to a Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds record that had just come out. Not the most uppity music, very depressing. But it took that level of pain to get me to realize that I actually had to make a different choice if I wanted to stay here. So what I love about the ideas that you're talking about, it's giving people the opportunity to make some of those choices before life puts you up against the ropes, puts you at the edge.
Yeah.
Toes over the cliff, right?
Toes over the cliff. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Eric, that is so true. And I think some of my greatest teachers have been in moments like that and experiences like that. And for me, this is where the two converging parts of my life have come together, and of the work that we do, is that I've studied the psychology and the neuroscience and taught it for so long, but it's in my practices and yoga and meditation and deep diving in that space that I've come to see, wow, okay, so from a neuroscience perspective, the brain is a predictive tool. It just predicts the next thing. And that is very helpful for survival and keeping us going, making sure that we don't just freeze up. But also,
hello, limbic response.
There you go. Puts us in a loop where we just start doing things because that's what we've always done. And so the brain is doing one thing, but then also from a more spiritual, I hope you don't mind me using that word, some people are resistant to it, space, it is also becoming more conscious at the same time that, okay, the brain is doing it this way, but I need to find practices that help me to be more present and conscious so that I can break those circuits before I get to the point of falling off the edge. And realize I don't have to be automated, that, as you know, humans are continuously looking to feel comfortable, to feel safe.
It's all
That's
about
a
patterns.
brain mechanism. It's all about patterns. And actually discomfort is where we grow and learn. But my gosh, we hate being there. We're so quick to get out of it however we can. We're either going towards what feels good or away from what feels bad. And that's why those phones as devices are so detrimental now, because all we're trying to do is stop feeling things.
So it's funny you talk about this. Is making me think. I am taking a kind of a unique journey towards fixing my focus, and I started this project about a month and a half ago, where I started reading classic books in a way that I call no highlighter, no pen, just you and the book, paper book, right? Old school. I've read 5 in the last month, right? So the concepts that you were just talking about made me think about, there's a book by Hermann Hesse called Siddhartha. It's a, very famous book. But in that book, Siddhartha and his buddy Govinda, they go to study, to walk the path to enlightenment, and Govinda stays on the path. And Siddhartha, well, a woman lures him out of it, and he becomes a merchant and a gambler. I know, right? And he goes off and does all the things so that he knows what he's giving up when he gives it up, and he makes a conscious choice. And he gets, get to the end of the book, and lo and behold, he's got the enlightened path, and Govinda's pissed at him for it because he stayed in the pattern and didn't find anything. Right? He's still where he was 25 years before when they wandered into the woods, right? To go hang out with the monks. That's what we do. Patterns. And Govinda had just as much choice as Siddhartha had, but he did not choose any of those things. He did not challenge, is this the life that he has chosen? Well, Siddhartha went off and, lived life, did things he probably shouldn't have done, experienced stuff, but then knew he had the perspective, right? That perspective that we talked about just a little while ago. So when you're working with leaders, Alex, you talk about managing cognitive energy. How do you get them to understand, A, the playing field, but B, that they can make choices?
Yeah, well, the starting point for everything all the time is understanding yourself. So cognitive energy is exactly the same. We're talking so much about, so everything comes back to how do we become sustainably high performing. And in order to be sustainable, we first have to know ourselves very well. So you're
saying you can't work 80 hours a week forever?
Well, you could give it a go. I'm not thinking you'll last very long. I know plenty of people are giving it a go. But knowing your values, what really, really, really is important to you. If we were to strip things back, we have really fun, interesting ways of helping people get to that point. But then we have to start looking at, so the tools that we lean into are, you guys probably remember in the 90s, there was sort of all this push around like having 45-minute working cycles. And if everybody worked in 45-minute cycles, we'd be all good. But of course, that was really just the average focus time. There are actually people who can focus for more like 10, 12 minutes, and then they need to recover some energy before going back. Then there are people who have no problem for an hour and a half, depending on what they're working on. But if we understand where we sit on that range of what we call optimal focus, then we can start operating in a way that supports our brain to get that recovery. Because the biggest issue that we have in the working world is we don't think about recovering our cognitive energy until Saturday or the vacation, as you say in America. And what happens to the majority of people on the first day of the weekend or the first day of the holiday?
Oh my gosh. I mean, you can't relax on that day. Your brain is still going at the same speed it was going yesterday.
Same speed. And chances are the body is now trying to recover because you're finally letting it. And that's when people get sick.
Yeah.
Always do. Show of hands who get sick on holiday. Everybody's hand goes up.
Right.
I mean, that is the most unbelievable evidence of the brain-body connection, that you can say in your brain, I'm not going to get sick, I'm not going to get sick, I've got too much work to do. And the second you relax, that's all of that tension in your body that's all like bound up, finally releases. And your body says, okay, we have to get sick because there's all this repair you haven't done.
And it's the only way we can force you to do it.
That's right. And cognitive energy is the same as physical. It acts the same way, that our cognitive energy needs to be recovered. So we teach people how to understand what their optimal focus is, how to work in those cycles, even if someone else's is completely different. That, you're watching me, you've probably seen me pick up my drink bottle quite a few times. I have short optimal focus. So I drink a lot of water to keep me recovered during bigger sit-down conversations. And when you can, this is just one element, but when you can start to work in cycles that fit you better, the structural part of how you work becomes a lot more manageable. So we talk about structure, which is the neural part. We talk about mindset, or the mental part, and we talk about physical and the physical elements of being able to be high performing in a sustainable way. But that's how we address the beginning conversation around cognitive energy.
Well, I love it. And it's funny, when you're talking about the 90s, it made me think of the Pomodoro method. Remember the Pomodoro? Like, everybody can work on these same exact cycles.
Yeah.
That makes no sense at all.
It makes no sense.
To my 55-year-old self goes, who believed that? Well, everybody believed that back then. And there are still apps you can get on your phones for doing Pomodoro method, and it's still a thing. But to your point, I mean, everybody's rhythm is different.
Yes.
And most people don't know what theirs is.
Correct.
Because
and most people think theirs is shorter than it is. Because
well, and they think they're good drivers and good listeners too. And that's categorically not true.
And very accountable.
Yes.
All the research that we're doing at the moment is around how people always mark themselves as highly accountable, but their colleagues is really, really low in accountability.
I'm going to go ahead and call bullshit on that.
You can't all be right.
So I like this idea of getting people in touch with, like, what is my jam? Like, how do I work best? Because especially in this country, we're socialized to believe that you just work, right? We know from the data that Europe does way better at holiday than we do, right? Like you go to Germany in August, it's closed. All the Germans are in Spain in August, right? For the whole month. Yet we work on vacation.
Yeah. Why do you think I moved back to New Zealand?
But like the conversations I've had with some of the people that I coach, I'm like, you realize there's no prize. You're not going to get an award for working the most, right? If you're the first person in the office in the morning and the last person to leave, you don't get rewarded for that. You get a shorter life and a less fulfilling one.
Yeah.
How do you get people to take a step back from the rat run? Because another thing that I tell the people that I coach all the time is work is never going to say, hey, Alex, you're giving too much. You need to slow down. Take a step back, right? Work will take whatever you give it. It will fill the container no matter the size. Now, we know from what we just talked about, the container doesn't scale. And at some point, you hit the wall. So how do you get people to realize that they don't have to choose into the pattern that we were sold, right? Yeah. To be successful at work, you climb the ladder, means you try harder and you work harder and not work smarter, work harder, right? And you show all this and then the results will come. And we all know they don't all the time. So how do you get people to break that pattern and step back and go, the hell am I doing here?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This is, true of my everyday conversations, but in particular, I've had 2 calls with clients already this morning, one based in New York who's very, very senior in data and analytics and had almost that exact conversation. And then prior to that, I do some volunteer work with teachers and principals because I get no coaching
bless
support.
You.
Bless them. And almost the exact same conversation with these 2 completely different people in completely different worlds. And I would say
at least New York person's probably being compensated for their efforts.
Oh, yeah.
Teacher person, not so much.
Maybe you should work those hours for that money. Yeah, exactly. Then, obviously the teacher was actually kind of willing to give more.
Because they believe in it. It's who they are.
They do. Yeah.
They're going to drink that IPA even if they don't like it.
Yeah, they believe in it. But probably my favorite book over the last 5 years, and I refer to it all the time, is Oliver Burkeman's 4,000 Weeks. I don't know if you've come across it. Really quick summary for listeners and you guys, if you haven't heard of it, is he's a career productivity guru, writes for the New York Times and all sorts of places about productivity. He's lived and breathed every productivity hack there is. He raised his children with productivity stuff. And then he, at the beginning of the book, he sort of talks about just sitting down on a bench in New York. I think he was in New York, or he is English, or London maybe, and saying to himself, oh my God, none of it works.
Yeah.
And realizing that absolutely, no matter how many times you clear that to-do list, there will be more behind it.
Always, forever.
That single realization, it will always, always be there. There will always be more. So now you have to decide, okay, what is important on that list? What is important on the list of my life, and why am I doing these things? Because you will never go to every country you want to go to. You will never do the billions of things that we all wish we could do and live multiple times. So you have to choose. You have to get focused, and you have to decide what's really important. And so helping people to connect what is truly important to them gets very, very clean and clear. That's only the individual. The work that we do in companies is helping them set up cultures where they understand that actually having highly engaged, high-performing people is far more beneficial for the company than it is to just create environments where they can work 24 hours a day. And that's always the bigger shift, is how do we get the company to see that as being the more effective option. You can work with the individuals all you want, but if the CEO and the senior leadership team aren't going to set up a company like that, then that only takes them so far.
Remember back in the 90s and early 2000s when everybody thought it was so great that companies like Google and Netflix were bringing in dry cleaning services and massage services, and it seemed so cool, and we didn't realize they just want to keep us there. More hours in the day. If I don't have to go get my oil changed or my windshield replaced, and the company will just have people come do that, I'll just keep working.
Oh, Eric, I remember working with I won't say which company, but you've kind of given us a highlight of who it might be, a group of female engineers, and saying to them, guys, you've got all these resources at your fingertips, like sleep pods and meditation rooms, and like, what's going on? And they were like, oh, we don't have time to use those. And I just thought, right.
Who's playing ping pong? Nobody's playing fucking ping pong.
No. Nobody. So isn't what you bring to the environment. It's the culture that you set up to engage with those things. I've seen companies work far more effectively who have absolutely no budget for any of that sort of stuff, but the people are very good at managing their energy and getting the recovery they need.
So that book's called 4,000 Weeks, Alex. Why is it called 4,000 Weeks?
Oh, well, that is, if we live till 80, the average amount of time we stay alive. So I think when he did that reflection, he looked at how shocking it was when he was asking people all over the place.
Yeah.
How many weeks do you think we live for? And people were going, oh, I don't know. He said, don't try to work it out. Just give me a guess. And they would say, I don't know, like 1 million. So we have this bizarre assumption that we're going to live forever. And actually, if you put, I think he sells calendars now, like on the wall, you have 4,000 weeks and you cross off how many you've covered. They go fast.
There was an experiment, or I don't know if it was an experiment, a recommendation, an idea, to have, this was, my dad told me about it when I was a kid, 2 jars. And in one jar, you put a marble for every weekend you think you're going to have from time 0 until your last breath. And every weekend you've got to move a marble from one jar to the other. Ooh. And I was like, I don't want to do that. like that makes it real. When you see the 2 jar get low and the from jar get high, like, whoa.
Wow, that's very visual, isn't it? To get
moving the marble every weekend. Because then you it's that perspective that we talk about earlier that you get when somebody passes away or whatever. When I move the marble, figuratively, because I didn't do it, I don't do it. I don't want to purport that this is my practice, but. If I move a marble from the weekends I got to the weekends that I'm done with, I have to think about what I did that weekend.
Yeah.
And how I spent my time and what I thought about. And how much of it did I waste doom scrolling or arguing with people on the internet or not calling my mother? Like shit like that. Right. And that's what I love about the work that you do is that when you force people into these, when you invite people, when you invite people into these transitions, it's not just about work.
No.
It's about life.
It can't be, because we are one system, one human system. We are not a home system and a work system. We are one system. And it's another fundamental principle from neuroscience that if you want to make changes, you can't just make the change in your work life and hope it'll work out at home. You have to do it in both for it to stick. One person, one system, one change, and then they'll stick, and then you'll get those changes forever. Yeah.
It's funny. We do a lot of work with assessments like, DISC and Myers-Briggs and True Colors and all of those. And it doesn't matter what profile you're using. invariably in every workshop, I'll have one person at least come up to me and go, well, this isn't really me at home. This might be me at work. And I always say, you should take it home and let your partner read that.
Yeah.
Because I'd be willing to guess you're not a good listener. You're not a good driver either. You're not super accountable. You probably are that person, because I've been doing this work for 30-ish years. And the way that scenario plays out is spouse gets report, spouse looks at report and goes, yes, yes, yeah, right. They're like, do they know you? And then the person is shocked because they don't believe themselves to be this person because they can't see how they land in the world. We talk a lot about the gap between intentions and impact. I judge myself and my intention, right? I know why I chose the words I chose, the venue, why I chose to text it to you instead of call you, whatever. And I generally try to do the right thing or the best thing that I think is called for in that situation. But I don't get judged on that. You judge me on how it lands. So that you judge on the impact. And if I put 16 smiley emojis at the end of my thing and you decide that's because I'm just being a dick about it, that's your truth, irrespective of my intention. And a lot of times I'm ignorant of what the impact actually is. So I tend to believe the thing that I told myself.
Yeah.
Even if it's not true.
They say most relationships could be healed if we truly believed that the other person's intention was positive. And if we're having a challenging time with someone, just spend a day with every interaction with them assuming positive intention.
Oh my gosh.
And
we talk about it all the time. I write API on the wall of most workshops that I do because we have a hard time doing that.
We do. Yeah. And that's all a reflection of our own lowered confidence or stuff we've got going on internally.
100%. So, Alex, last question for me before I let other people ask you questions here. You said you're writing 2 books. As the guy who wrote one a couple of years ago, writing books sucks, and the publishing industry sucks. And you're doing it in parallel. Why?
Well, I won't take full credit for it. We're writing one largely based on our business frameworks, and my business partner is really heading that up, and I'm editing it for her and adding in my client stories and things. So I can't take full credit for writing 2 books. But we are releasing the business book, hopefully by the end of the year. It's looking really good. And then the other one, which I actually originally started writing and thought would be a business book, but the more I delved into it, as you would know from an experience of writing a book, it can't be. It actually has to be just about the human. So I'm writing it about the individual and conscious choice.
So this is the Silent Yeses book?
This is the Silent Yes book. Yeah.
So you have to come back when that drops.
Okay, thank you. Wow, I mean, it's such an, I never thought I would be interested in writing a book, and I don't know, it must just be at a point in my life and my career where things have converged and I just want to talk about it. And because I think I've lived 2 worlds for a long time, the neuroscience world and then the more spiritual world and my corporate world and it's always felt, even though I knew they crossed, I kept them quite separate. Imagine going into a corporate even 10 years ago and talking about meditation. I mean, they would laugh you out of the room.
Not today.
Now not today. I can get up and I can take people through meditation exercises and show them the neuroscience of how that works.
And so much of what you do as a yoga teacher is now applicable in leadership development.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the world's open to it in a way that it wasn't, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, I would say progressively, there's definitely plenty of pushback.
I'm not talking about Texas. So,
hey, careful.
I'm talking about the purple world that I live in. Shushan, Kat, Ann, do you have any questions for Alex? Anything popping for you or anything that you want to ask her about?
Or share.
Or
Love to hear
share.
your
Yeah.
stories.
I know Shushan does. She always has something to say.
Cool. You're over in New York at the moment.
You know, he loves to call me out, but I don't know why. I think I just sort of bring that out in him. So,
He's sending you love.
I am curious on when you're working with your clients, um, I find for someone who uses a lot of alternative methods myself when I'm coaching people one-on-one, um, how do you position the process you're going to take someone through without them feeling like there's something wrong with me? You're a neuroscientist and you've got psychology background, and so uh, often people will get uncomfortable if they start to make that connection, right? So how do you position that when you're working with a client, especially a high-powered one?
Yeah. Do you mean the practices themselves, or that they might feel that you're judging them because of your background and expertise? Is that
The practice itself, right? So I would imagine at some point when you're doing one-on-one work, you're taking them through some process for that deeper level of discovery, right? It's not just a cognitive discussion, because that's a very small percentage of our processing power, right? So emotions trump logic all day long. So even if they consciously understand
Yeah.
what's happening, why it's coming from there, and there's lots of self-aware people, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't still mean that they're going to choose differently or make the change.
Yeah.
So how do you go about positioning it in a way where they don't feel threatened, thinking there's something wrong with them?
Okay, my short answer is carefully. My longer answer is there's quite a bit of relationship build. Some people, it's just they're tried a bunch of other stuff and they just come to the table going, just hit me with it. I'm
Right.
open. And I love it. I mean, that's such an easy job, isn't it? God, it's so exciting. But that is not often or always the case. Often
Sure.
it's what tools can you give me? I get that a lot. Can you show me how to structure things? And so I often say to people, the number of times I've come in and I've been asked to support someone alleviate their time or shift the way that they're doing things. And by the time we get 1 or 2 sessions deep, you are not interested in time at all, because you're realizing that that's not the driver. So small gains in the interim to build a little bit of trust. And then the practices, I usually encourage them to try them at home on their own first, like introducing small amounts of breathing or small amounts of presence practice. And I try to drop language around meditation and stuff they might not be comfortable with, and getting them to do the smallest amount on their own. Almost always, I do say almost always has enough of an impact that they come back and go, okay, something's shifting. Tell me why that worked. Tell me why. I'm doing 3 minutes in the morning, 3 minutes at lunchtime, and 3 minutes before I see my children in the evening, and I feel like a different person. Like, wow, yeah. Imagine if you were doing 20. And
Yeah.
just little gateways, I call them. So it's like, I always think of the like dark blanket and like ripping a little hole in it and the light comes through. And so you're just showing them a little bit of light, and then they start to get more interested in pulling it back. And that's when I would move to doing more practices with them. So, hey, would you be, because often we're meeting in a corporate space, would you be comfortable if we practice some of the stuff that you're trying at home here, and I can guide you through it, as long as there's no like open window, people can't look in, or I'll put their back to the glass, fishbowl. I'll put their back to it, and so they're facing me and I'm looking out. Or the other thing is I will often create little recordings for people so that they can take them home and work on them a little bit. But yeah, gently getting them to see the benefit for themselves before I go and say, hey, let me take you through this experience that is going to blow your mind, and you're going to don't know why you would trust me to do that. And I put a lot of reminders in there about don't go on YouTube. Don't go look something up on YouTube. There's a lot of stuff out there that isn't supportive.
Oh God, yeah.
It's not safe. It's so and finding out, I think people are amazing with what they're quietly trying without telling anyone.
Oh my God.
Like, oh, I'm actually reading about this. Or I had a client in the UK I worked with for a really long time, and he would drop little hints along the way about the work he was doing in the background. And then one day he finally came out and like blew my mind with what he was doing. And I was like, oh my God, we can do so much more now.
Thanks for opening the door.
Yeah. So I've always felt business is the entry point for change, because it's the point people are willing to look at.
Yeah.
But once you're in that door, the opening line of my book, it might change, but it says when I was 26 years old, my first ever CEO coaching client, who the guy who was my mentor put in front of me, asked me if he should leave his wife. Oh. Because he was so unhappy. And I was 26 years old. And I was like, people they're not really talking about business. They're talking about themselves.
Said the person who stood up in front of cops and community when she was 18 years old at CU Boulder. Oh, wow. I mean, come on. I'm just going to go ahead and give you the claps here.
That's very kind.
Alex, how do people find you out on the worldwide interwebs if they want to learn more?
Yeah, you can just find me on LinkedIn is the best one under Alexandra Davids. You can find us on our website at nextevolutionperformance.com. We do some fun, free stuff. We do webinars every month that are free. They're called 2020, the neuroscience, clear reviews on the neuroscience of leadership. They're 20 minutes talking on a neuroscience topic and 20 minutes open Q&A with up to 5 of us usually from around the world who are in the neuroscience-based coaching space. And they're always fun. They're kind of like this, but short, really punchy, so people can make it work in their day. And you can get the recordings too. But that's the best way to find me.
I love it. I love it. So I'm so glad Shushan was here today, because you guys you vibe on a similar wavelength here. You should probably know each other. That's what I'm thinking. I think you should probably know each other.
Well, I'm in New York usually every year, if not every other. So that would be great to connect.
Sounds wonderful. And Eric, you just did a matchmaking, and Lori was not even around. May I just point that out?
Whoa.
I know.
I mean, come on.
Is that Lori's space?
It's like almost I'm good at this job.
I think you've done a fantastic job.
All right. Well, Alex, we're going to get into our little end of show ritual. It's just a few minutes. And because everybody on this call right now, I don't have Lori and I don't have Ruby. So you need to come off mute and laugh at my jokes. Otherwise, it's really awkward when I tell jokes and I laugh at them myself. So without further ado, today's funny things. Oh my God. This one is so stupid. In 2019, hundreds of Las Vegas pigeons had tiny cowboy hats glued to their heads. The person who committed this crime was never caught.
Hundreds of them.
How do you catch a pigeon and glue a hat on it?
And the poor little pigeon.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, that one was not funny, Eric. It's sad.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah, agreed.
Kind of sad, but when you see a pigeon in a cowboy hat,
it is a little funny.
That shit's funny.
Maybe the glue dissolves in the rain or something.
Yeah, it's natural.
This is my brain every time I see the word matinee. It's a picture of the hard math and a picture of a manatee. Because I always read it as manatee. I do that
Manatee.
same thing. But if we're looking at pictures of undersea creatures, this is a thing I never considered until today. And this is an upside down great white shark. And it looks like a laughing devil.
Oh my God, it does.
Whoa.
Creepy.
Okay.
That is creepy.
Wow.
Did you hear the World Surf Champs were just in New Zealand?
No. Did anybody
And one
get
of the
eaten by a shark?
photographer. No, we don't really have that many sharks here. We do in Australia, they do. But one of the photographers got attacked by a sea lion.
Oh.
Wow. He's fine.
But he was fine.
Attacked by the
Unheard
cutest
of.
animal in
Never
the ocean.
happened here before, ever.
Wow.
The question is, what did the human do to the animal? That's the first question I have.
Yeah,
So
great question. Kicking away in his home, I guess.
And because I always put in a dirty joke for Ruby, this is a joke about how immature boys can be. And it's a text exchange from girlfriend and boyfriend. And it starts, hey, on a scale from 1 to 100, how immature are you? He says 69.
Oh my gosh.
She said, on a scale of 1 to 10. He says 6.9 sad face. Why the sad face? And he says, because it's a great time interrupted by a period.
Oh God.
oh
be
my
here.
goodness.
All week. Because here's the thing. All boys, no matter their age, perpetually 13. Perpetually 13 years
Perpetually 13.
I
had
have
one.
two 13-year-old boys at home right now.
old. You should
that's-
share this
I have
joke with
one.
them because they would love this joke.
They would. Yeah, they probably would. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. This next one is a picture that a sister sent her brother of her ultrasound, and it looks just
gosh.
like the Emperor from Star Wars.
God.
Oh my God.
But
You look.
my favorite funny thing this week is a real estate sign. It says, while Batman is fighting crimes, Man-Bat is busy selling homes, because the sign is for realty executives Wayne Bruce, which is the
Oh my God,
antithesis
funny.
of Bruce
Bruce
Wayne.
Oh my God. Man-Bat.
Man-Bat. He's
Go Wayne
selling
Bruce.
homes.
Oh my God.
All right, today's Good Feels story is about career progression in a way that we don't often think about it. Come on. I mean,
It's pretty cute.
I love it when I
awesome.
don't know what we're going to talk about and we talk about breaking patterns, and that dude just broke his pattern in an
Yeah.
epic way.
Yeah, that's really, really special.
I love it. All right. Last but not least, the distributed cocktail, whose title I did not change. It is not called Barbecue Thief. This is called, Zebra? This is a riff on the red-nosed zebra. You're going to need a little bit of rum, one zoo in Armenia, a little bit of lemon juice, a zebra that was reported missing, fresh lime juice. I mean, take a look at this thing. It doesn't look like a zebra. I mean, it's stylized like a zebra. A little agave nectar. Turns out the zebra wasn't from the zoo. Some strawberry puree, and it wasn't even a zebra. They painted a donkey and called it into the cops as if it were an escaped zebra. I mean, really?
Eric, you do know I'm Armenian, right?
The hits keep coming, Shushan. I mean,
I'm just saying, you know?
And I'm
Some people have too
also-
much time.
I'm also a Kiwi. So my mother, my whole so I'm a dual citizen. You can't take my accent. Yes.
I mean, dang, come on.
all coming together.
I mean,
Oh, how
Lori's not even
cool.
going to believe it. I'm going to tell her, and she's gonna be like, that didn't happen. None of those things are true. Oh my gosh.
Super cool, Anne.
This has been so fun. Alex, thank you so much for being
Thank
here
you.
today.
Thank you, Eric. Thank
We
you, everyone
definitely
else, too.
need to do it again when your book comes out, because
you.
that looks like an amazing time. Thank you to everybody who joined us today. Thanks to Shushan and Kat and Anne. This has been a super conversation, and I could continue it for another hour or two, but dinner beckons. Go get some dinner, y'all.
Lunch over here.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Nice to see you, Kat, Shushan, Alex, Eric. Thank
Nice
you.
to connect with you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If you had a good time and learned a thing or two at today's happy hour, please share it with your friends. If you want to join our tribe, head on over to skyeteam.cloud/TCB or email us at info@skyeteam.com. That's SKYE team.com. Thanks again, and remember, you've always got friends at the Corporate Bartender.